Oh, yes. This culture, intellectual ability with education, then that's our habits, our belief in shared experiences as a social nation, a political, and a hereditary group. Yes. Well, as a social nation, as a culture, what's it say that you don't enforce my rights to have actual hearings during a dissolution of marriage? Then you award to my wife, yes, anything she asks for without me having any negotiation about what actually happens. You took custody of my sons without any due process, and then if I talk to another government employee, they have to report me to child support services without any due process. Now, as a culture, okay, a social culture, are there those in judiciaries that thought that this due process didn't affect the other employees of the government? Let's say I went to welfare. I said, "Well, I want food stamps because I'm owed food stamps as a citizen of the United States, and I'm homeless, sleeping on the floor, and I don't want to go to the food bank. I'd like to purchase the food that I want to purchase using my welfare benefits." Well, I approach the individual and I fill out whatever the form it is. Right, and I'm eligible for emergency food stamps. And they kind of look it for warrants for my arrest, and they look to see if I have back child support, and then they Google my name and see that there was a protection order issued. But I was not given the required personal service. Now, the employee could have a prejudice against me as a citizen of the United States. Now, how many of those in welfare, pooh, have been looking at the private lives of those that are citizens and saying, well, I'm obligated to inform the sheriff? Now, I made up some bullshit about saving it for my sons when I get custody of them because people had asked me. And the thought was, well, I'm really not going to need those food stamp benefits. Pooch, I'm going to sue this county. When you go through the actual employees of every welfare benefit, yes, child protective services, crisis responders that have to do an evaluation, you're putting in publication a notice of protection order. Gives them the impression that I'm a domestic abuser and a child abuser. They immediately have some personal prejudice against myself as a citizen, and when you do it enough times where they can find out, well, now, there are some citizens that are not being treated equally and fairly. Pooh. Now, let's say I was to sue welfare. Give me every computer that has accessed anything on the internet that involves my personal name, and then anything involving law enforcement. Ouch! And then anything involving welfare benefits. Phew. Now, I had once approached a woman about renewing my driver's license when I was in Centralia. You know, body language can say a lot about an individual. Yes, yes. You know, those required notices that you get from the state of jurisdiction? Yeah. Well, what happened was I realized that when you don't give actual notice and opportunity to be heard because you don't do what the law says, it says that they can suspend your driving privileges. Oh, could you get me all the suspended driver's licenses of every welfare recipient? Just look. Well, I know Brett Roberts told Judge Landis, but without the notice from the state of jurisdiction, because I emailed law enforcement and I said, well, what's this about on August 21st in Jefferson County? Yep. Well, they didn't give me the notice requiring me to have to appear in court, the same notice that says if you do not appear in court, we can take your driver's license. We can obligate you to be a homeless indigent. Now, when you issue a failure to appear and transport me across county lines for $500,000, how many bail bondsmen are going to want to issue? Well, now, Not only did you destroy my welfare benefits, pooch, tried to stick me with $100,000 in back child support, made me look just absolute shit. Any person that Google my name, pow! You've prejudiced every government fucking employee right now.